joined now by the wonderful David Lowell Morris.
Hey, John, nice to hear from you, man.
I was going to say you're in lockdown on a little island. It sounds a little bit like Alcatraz, but it's not. It's Waiheke.
Yeah, Waiheke Island. My son was saying to me, we should just forget about these lockdowns. We're separate. We just do our own thing.
Very, very cool. I like the sound of that. Now, this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is haven't caught up with you in ages, so it's nice to actually have an excuse to do a Zoom call and then be able to play it on the radio. But also, you've been going through a really cool thing that is comes out of some tough times in your life, that you've then turned it around to create a little video log series.
That's right. Yeah. People who know me well know that Finland's been a big part of our life and our ministry. And fortunately, there's a young guy there. He's a bit like you, John. He's a younger brother who sort of challenges me to keep going, keep producing, which is so neat when you're a little bit older, that your younger brothers keep pushing you and say, "Come on, it's time to do something new." And so my friend Yuri in Finland said, "Why don't we get some grabs of you talking about some of your most special songs and the stories behind them and the Bible verses behind them?" And so he set me up with a just a portable camera to start shooting myself here on Waiheke Island in lockdown last year. And it's been so good for me to do this. Very, very good reflection, realizing that I still need a lot of healing for a lot of the traumatic things we've been through myself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And lockdown, lockdown is probably the magnifying glass in so many ways for people. If things are going well for you, then often that being in a lockdown can actually kind of magnify that. So you have this lovely little time in a lovely space where you get to sort of breathe it in and breathe it out. But then if you're going through a tougher time, maybe you've had anxiety, maybe work hasn't been great. Look, you guys have gone through cancer scares throughout the time. It can often just isolate you even more and sort of magnify it to a greater extent.
That's so true. Yeah, I think we have to be careful when we say, "Hey, hasn't lockdown been great?" Because I think for the majority it hasn't been. I mean, you're very blessed if you can say that. But for most of the people I know on the island, for example, who are on low wages, it's been a traumatic time for them. Anything related to tourism and the wine industry here has just been stopped in its tracks, and it's been very, very upsetting time for many people. But I think for me, John, I realise there's been a lot of kind of delayed grief. When you're a minister, it's amazing. God gives you this incredible strength to get through a certain situation. But it's often much later you do your own personal grieving, because say at a funeral when you're leading, it's not your time to grieve. I remember someone saying to me when Brian Hathaway died, and I was singing at this huge occasion, we're gutted to lose Brian, right? But she said to me, "Hey, it's not for you to break down today. It's for you to carry the people in worship." And it was such a helpful comment. It's from an Aussie. Aussies are often so much tougher than we are. And she said, "Look, you can do your grieving in your private time, but you've got to stand strong for the people today." And it was great. I did that. But then, of course, after that, I realized, hey, Brian's gone, my mentor, and also my employer with worship seminars all around New Zealand. And it all stopped after Brian died. So these are genuine griefs. But we've got to allow ourselves time after the fact to really go through that process. And I think we rush it in the modern world rather than actually giving it a lot of the time it deserves.
Very, very true. Very true. All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about this video log series, some of the topics that you've dealt with in this. The first one that pops up, which I think is the latest one that you've done, which is Blackbird. Tell me Bluebird. Sorry, I got the wrong color. Blackbird, Bluebird. Blackbird would probably be a bit more of a darker one, even more so. Bluebird provides a little bit more hope.
Yeah, that's right. I've had this writing partnership with Anders Liljeström in Finland. It's been amazing because he's 20 years younger than me, and it really is like working with your son. It's a fantastic thing. We've been a real blessing to each other in life, let alone these songs. But he came up with this idea of Bluebird. He often just plays an idea into his iPhone, sends it straight to me across the world. And I burst into tears when I heard his very, very rough idea. I thought, wow, this song is something, And then it started to dawn on me that the song might speak to a Canadian sister who was in our church here in Auckland, who was going through a long journey with brain tumours. and she was literally flying to and from Canada for treatments, and such a tough time. But the song was speaking about this hope of, the journey of healing, whether it be in this life or whether it be the ultimate healing of heaven. And I just said to Carmen, hey, look, I think I've got a song might be for you. And it really was. And so I started singing it for her at home group and then at church. And then we recorded it, and she prayed for us when we recorded it in Helsinki. And then I sang it to her as she was dying, sadly at the age of 48, and then sang it at a funeral. And then, but the legacy goes on. The great thing about a song or art is that it can be a living legacy, if you like. And so now her story is getting told over and over again in different ways. And the vlog was the latest way to make sure we make the most of what this image can mean.
Awesome. Hey, now, if you want to watch any of these videos, I will put some links and bits and pieces on our social media, so you can find us at Star Radio on Facebook. But I do want to just say it's really easy to get to the website, davidlylemorris.com.
That's it. Yeah, thank you so much, John. Like, this started purely to for our Finnish friends, but it started to dawn on me this might go wider and especially be a legacy for our family, because you've produced albums and stuff, John, and it's such a labor of love, and it takes such a toll on families. It's a financial sacrifice, it's time, it's energy, but you want to leave a legacy, to say this is what God helped us through. This is what He said to us when we were really at our lowest ebb, and you want that. And the great thing about it being on the internet now is that it'll be there forever for our little grandson who's due in January, our first grandchild, for example. He will know what his papa was up to, in his life and time. And your legacy, passing on to the next generations is such a key for us as we're getting a little bit older.